Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we're not just going to be going to the junkyard and rebuilding a random car. Well, I mean, we are, but we're going to be doing it in a different way. I have uploaded up to 25 episodes of Car Mechanic Simulator, and as you can see in my warehouse, I have a tradition where every time I restore a car, I pull the motor and I store it in this warehouse. So, as you can see, with all of these motors in here, you can see just how many cars I've rebuilt. Today, I figured I would finally do a proper step-by-step tutorial, like sort of an episode series on how I rebuild my cars in Car Mechanic Simulator. So today, we're going to be doing the engine episode. I'm going to be, showing you how to rebuild the engine, because the way I do it, it's kind of difficult to explain and it's probably going to take a bit, so I'm just going to divide it into different episodes. So let's go ahead and go to the junkyard and find what we're going to build. But first, the number one thing I have to say about Car Mechanic Simulator, if you just got this game and you are looking for a way on how to play it, do not find a tutorial. I would highly recommend that you experience the game first, have your fun, and don't just have somebody direct you on how to play it. Just experience it first. I highly recommend it. Don't have somebody like me tell you what to do and what to not do, because it just kind of ruins the game experience altogether. With that being said, let's go ahead into the junkyard and see what first car we can have. Alright, we have arrived at the junkyard, and I can tell you exactly where most vehicles spawn. So a vehicle usually spawns there, here, and here. Somewhere down here. As you can see, there's a truck down here, but I think sometimes there's a car parked along here. There's a car right there, and there's a car right there, and sometimes there's two different cars can be parked along here. I think in here too. There can be one right here maybe. As you can see, there could be a car parked here. There can even be a car parked somewhere along here. There can be a car parked up here on this mound, which is sometimes difficult to get to. As you can see, there's a car parked here, and sometimes it can be parked back here too. And it can be parked along this area too, as well as in here and back in here. And that's all of the possible spawn locations of each car. And as you can see, there's even one right here, which I think this might be a perfect starter car. Now, it's going to tell you to examine the car. I personally do not do this at all because I just end up replacing every part on the car anyway. So this kind of function I just don't really use. If I like the car, I don't really care about the price, because as you can see, 4.4 million credits. I don't really care about the price. If I like the car, I just buy it, and I usually throw it in the garage because I usually just restore it right after I buy it. So now we're gonna go ahead and head back to the garage. So the car usually spawns out here, and go ahead and throw it on the lift. Now the very first thing I do is I usually just tear all the parts off. I just tear every single body part off that there is. And I even take out the inside too, the upholstery. And I usually just strip the car completely down like this, and then I raise the car up, and usually the drive shaft is connected, but it's not in this case, and so I'm gonna go ahead and just take out the gearbox. As you can see, there goes the gearbox, and we're gonna drop the car back down. And over in this corner, we're gonna go ahead and get the cherry picker. And we're gonna go ahead and take the engine out, and just like every tradition, I'm gonna be storing this engine in this warehouse. And basically what we're gonna do now is we're gonna choose what engine we're gonna put in here. So it can be the stock engine, but we're not gonna do that. We're going to go with a V8 one carb OHV. Now, most of the time I go with a Magnum or a Hemi 426, or a 6-pack, because those usually put out the most power. But today we're going to be doing something small and simple, and I actually think I'm going to go with the 2-carb instead. So let's go ahead, and I usually go in here, and the V8s are at the end. So we can find the 2-carb. I think it's back here. Yep, here it is. Alright, now, how I rebuild every single motor, I'll show you, step by step. No time lapse, no nothing. So, I usually just put everything in the shopping cart, and the block, it is a stock part. You can't get an upgraded block, but a fuel filter and a ignition coil, you can get an upgraded version of those, and that's what I usually do. Now, that's the same thing with the alternator and the power steering. These are also upgradable parts, as well as the camshaft. Now, the crankshaft isn't an upgradable part. As you can see, when you try to get an upgradable version of a part that can't be upgradable, it just shows you this. So you want to go ahead and just go to the stock one, and you just get a stock version of the part. Alright, so now let's go ahead and toss the oil filter on there, the ignition distribution. Now with the ignition distribution, I usually just go here and I search up ignition, and as you can see, if I can find the rotor, and it usually is this one, but it might be a different one this time. And as you can see, you just throw it together like that. And clips, with these clips, I gotta show you something with these clips. Now go ahead and just throw them on the shopping list, and let's go ahead and grab the oil filter while we're here, and we already bought that. Now with these clips, you're gonna be using a lot of clips, so I would recommend just buying as many clips as you can, which is 50, and just so for future builds, you don't have to worry about running out of clips, so you just already have them in your inventory. And now, for the pistons. Now for the pistons and for the clutch, what I like to do, I like to do this a certain way. I just go here to the upgrade shop, I search for pistons. I get 8, because there's 8 cylinders, 8 pistons. I search up CLU, not the full clutch word, but CLU. I search up fly, short for flywheel, and I usually go to the other store, search up clutch, and get the bearing, and go to piston, and get the piston rings from here, because you can't get upgraded piston rings or upgraded bearing. And I need to get caps as well for the crankshaft bearing cap, and I need to get 8 rod caps because there's 8 pistons. And as you can see, as you're about to see, I'm going to have the perfect amount of parts to put around this sort of area. And I usually like to tilt the engine to the left or the right, it really doesn't matter. And I usually put the parts in from the bottom of the block. Alright, and go ahead and just throw the oil pan right on the thing. And then go ahead and, usually there's usually head A and then head B, but as of right now they're both the same, so I think I got 2 chains. No, I didn't. Go ahead and get the oil pan as well, and the head you can get it upgraded as a part, sorry. Now, as you can see, these little push rods are probably one of the most annoying parts about almost this entire game, because they're just very, very tedious, but it's something you're just going to have to do, and honestly, they're the first things that I do, just so I can get it out of the way. And I usually just buy as many as I can, because I'm probably going to need more later. Alright, and after that, you want to do the exact same thing you just did, but with the rocker arms. Alright, now that we're finished with that, we're going to go ahead and throw the timing chain on there, since it's just right there. And go ahead and throw the timing cover in the shopping cart. So as you can see, almost everything on this block now can be an upgradable part, except the covers. So these covers here and this cover here cannot be upgraded, but this manifold, this exhaust, and these spark plugs, I forgot to put the oil pan in earlier. But anyway, the rest of the things on here are upgradable, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw them on the shopping list. Go straight here and get 8 of these, because there's 8 pistons. Get 2 of these and get 1 of these. And go ahead and get a timing cover while you're at it. Go ahead and just toss that on there. You know, go ahead and throw the covers on the list too, as well as the carburetors. As you can see, the ignition wires popped up, so everything that I'm going to buy here now can only be bought here and not in the upgradable store. But now, the carburetor and the ignition wires can be upgraded parts. Because I really don't know where the other thing is. Alright, and you can get an upgraded filter, so I'm going to go ahead and get that, as well as the cover. Alright, now the only thing that's left is the whole timing system and the pulley system that's right here. And pretty much the rest of that is in the normal shop. And as you can see, I think the cherry on top is the fan. And as you can see, that's how you can rebuild a motor. That's how I rebuild motors in Car Mechanic Simulator. And after you do that, all you gotta do is plop it in the car you need it to be in. And then move the cherry picker back over there. And as you can see, it is looking absolutely great inside this car already. And now, that is the engine. Now I'll see you guys on the next episode. We're going to be working on the suspension. See ya.